Hello guys, I'm gonna make a little video here. This was actually requested in the middle of 2015 and I'm just now getting around to making this video, so I apologize for the delay. What this video is going to cover is some basic ways to get um, I guess we call it ultra high resolution satellite image out of Google Earth. There's a couple different ways to do it. This method is going to go over the composite method, which is you're going to be taking a bunch of screenshots and you're going to composite those together in Photoshop or PaintShop or whatever program you want to use. So what you're looking at is Richmond International Raceway, obviously in Google Earth. To get the satellite image out of Google Earth, you want to put that on a MIP file and put that in Sandbox or whatever program you're using to make a racetrack with. You know, this is decent quality. Some of them are quite a bit better. Um, you know, if you start zooming in, you can actually get a fair amount of detail. You're gonna have to play around with this in Google Earth because what you're seeing in the video is not going to be totally representative of what you're going to get in Google Earth on your screen. So, um, you know, this is a pretty decent image. Lines are nice and crisp. There's not a whole lot of warpage going on with the satellite image or anything like that. So, basically, I've already got this set up in Photoshop, but I'll go over the process of how I got the images. I can't do it on the recording because you guys wouldn't be able to see it. I've got an ultra wide monitor set up, and that's not conducive to recording. So, basically, I have to show you what I'm doing on one screen, but I've already done it on my full desktop view. So, uh, this process will work regardless of what monitor setup you have, desktop resolution. Obviously, the lower your desktop resolution, the more images you're going to have to stitch together to get to an ultra high resolution image as an end result. You know, I'll show you real quickly just using this monitor here, which is basically what you're seeing. You would take a screenshot by hitting print screen on your keyboard. Obviously, you want to make sure there's nothing overlaying. You want to turn off all your roads and you know, 3D buildings and whatnot like that. You want to get rid of all those extra layers. And if you're not familiar, I'll just show you that real quick. Up here to view, make sure your sidebar is turned on, and make sure all of this stuff over here is unchecked. You can uncheck borders and labels, but unless the border's running right through the racetrack, that shouldn't be a problem for you. You know, during the screenshot process, it's not a bad idea to auto hide this navigation bar over here. Let's go ahead and turn the sidebar off. I'm just using the mouse wheel to zoom in and out if you're not familiar with Google Earth. I'll go over some of the basics, try not to skip too much. If you have any questions, if I skip over something, just post it in the comment section and I'll try to get back to you. If you want to auto hide this navigation over here, before I get to that real quick, I want to show you how to use a couple things here. When you search for the racetrack, you would type in the address, just go to Google or Bing or whatever search engine you want to use. You know, find the address of the racetrack and then type it in up here, or you can try typing in the racetrack name. Usually comes up in the general area where you can get to it. To get things lined up, you want to, if you're working on a track that's already in Sandbox, you want to orient it in the same direction that it is in Sandbox already. You know, you can see that normally when you would zoom in, it would be sitting like this, with north facing up. Typically what you want to do is you want to find a straight edge. In this case I use the backstretch wall. If you notice, if you grab this circle, you can rotate it. It kind of jerks around a little bit. It's really hard to get it exactly perfect, and it may end up just slightly off. What I'll actually do is I'll bring that edge up to the top of the window here. Basically using that menu bar up there as a straight edge. You'll notice that it's really difficult if I'm rotating this right here. That's pretty darn close right there, but you may not get so lucky. What I found is if you hold your left mouse button, see the wheel is highlighted blue there? While you're holding the left mouse button, drag your mouse away from the circle, and now the turning radius is much bigger and you have more precise control. Hopefully you can see that there. Just experiment with that. I'm continuing to hold the left mouse button the entire time, but as long as I've got the mouse button held, I can go all the way out to the other edge and I can get super precise. And again, left click, make sure it's highlighted, bring my mouse all the way out to the edge, and I can make sure that is exactly, or as close as I can get it to being perfectly straight with the top there. You might use a yellow line, or most often you'll find a straight edge or a straight line on pit road. So that's pretty good there. That's how you would rotate that and get it lined up the way you want it to be in Sandbox. You need to do that before you start taking screenshots. You want to find your desired resolution, so you zoom in until you're happy with the resolution that you're looking at, and you can build the track off of that. That's pretty good right there. Honestly, if I was working with this resolution, I would go probably somewhere in that area. And I would like this navigation bar to disappear, so what I can do is go up here to View, Show Navigation, and I can go automatically, never turns it off, obviously. Once you've got zoomed into where you want to be, it is important to not zoom in or out. If you zoom in or out or change focus, like if you minimize or maximize the window, your altitude and your zoom level is probably going to change. You may not even notice it until you go to line up the images. So what you want to do is you want to have your photo editing program ready. When you start taking the images, you just want to snap them one after another and move in a grid pattern. Either, in this case, I'll probably do 9 images. This would be the top left. You would go over one, take one, go over again, take another one, and go down. For this particular track, I'd go right to where the middle of the track is, even with the middle of this horizontal area here. And just make a 9x9 grid, taking pictures and pasting them one at a time directly into the photo editing software. And like I said, if you accidentally zoom out on the last one, you have to start over, because you're never going to get back to the exact same altitude or zoom level that you were at when you started. You're going to notice a little bit of warpage, moving over, and also, if you're not familiar, obviously you can grab and drag, but you're not going to be able to keep the image lined up horizontally or vertically. It's not dire that you line everything up in a grid pattern doing it this way. Obviously it helps, but you're just going to end up with a little bit extra up here and a little bit less down here or whatever, as long as you're not zooming in and out. So the other way to do that, instead of using the mouse wheel a little bit more precise, is to actually use the arrow keys on your keyboard. So I'm hitting right, up, down, and left. So I can basically walk the camera a little bit more precisely. So that aids in getting a grid pattern going that way. This is basic stuff, but there are some people that don't know this, so if you already know this video isn't going to help you. But so once you capture all your images, you're copying and pasting those images in Photoshop or whatever you're going to use to edit the images. I've already got my ultra widescreen images set up here. And I'm going through the process of lining those up, and I just wanted to touch a little bit on how I go about that process of stitching the images together. I know there are stitching parameters in Photoshop, but I prefer to do it manually. And you'll see why. I'm not going to show you the automatic stitching. I'm just going to show you the manual way. But in this case, I just took 7 layers. I'm probably not even going to need the information on 6 and 7, but I just went ahead and took them. You know, things to consider are when you're taking your images outside of the racetrack, is there any information that you need? In this case, it's Richmond. They were just announced today, I believe, that they're taking out the backstretch grandstand. They've already taken out one of the grandstands. So that means that you're going to be able to see this wooded area, or this forest over here, completely as you come off turn 2, and it's going to be a prominent feature on the backstretch now because that grandstand is not going to be there. So if you want that to be part of your racetrack, make sure you put that information in your screenshots so you know exactly where the edge of trees is going to be. If you've got trees behind the grandstand, obviously that's probably not important. So we'll go over the next layer that I need to work on is layer 4. So I'm going to zoom in. And I've already cut off the taskbar off the bottom of each one of these so I can begin lining them up. You can see that we have some, if I turn the layer off, you can see I have some new information and some repeated information that I already have up here. What I want to do is zoom into a level where I can see something that's easy to identify. Let's say, so make sure I'm on the top layer, layer 3 in this case. I'm actually just going to use the drag select tool, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that corner right there. I'm going to go back and switch to layer 4, and I'm using the arrow key and I'm moving layer 4 up, and you'll notice that that white box is going to pop up in this area that I just cut out of layer 3. So I'll just get it right there, and then let's zoom back out. Like I said, you can see just a little bit of warpage when you turn layer 3 off, but that's minimal. I mean, that's well within tolerance of what we're talking about. We're talking about freely available satellite imagery. You know, that's probably less than a pixel that you're looking at difference there. By the way, this image is 4096 by 4096. And you have to use powers of 2, or basically powers of 32, 16, 64, etc., all the way up. 4096 is about the biggest resolution that I use. I don't care about file size. This will end up being probably 12 megabytes when I'm done converting it to a MIP file, but I don't care about that. After I've got each one of those lined up, and I'll do it the same way, I'll just pick something that's easy to line up, and I'll cut a section out of the existing layer, or the top layer, layer 3 in this case, and then line up layer 4 exactly where it should be in that cutout area, and just continue with all of your screenshot images and overlap them. You're going to be within 1 pixel. You know, the resolution, like I said, this is more than adequate for doing NASCAR 2003 tracks. This would work for modifying existing tracks as well as laying out new tracks. You know, that little bit of warpage that you're getting there, you can see things kind of jump around a little bit. It's probably not going to show up on video too well. Let's see if we can zoom in and show that up a little bit better there. Even zoomed in, it's, you know, that's not bad. And I'm not sure that's even going to show up in the video. But it's darn close, so hopefully that helps you get started on that. The other thing is, you know, when you take this image, You want to center your racetrack at the center of this, whatever resolution, 4096 by 4096. Try to put that at the center. You're going to get it close. You're going to apply that as a background image in Sandbox. If you guys can't figure that part out, I'll make it part 2 of this video. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to go in Google Earth and take your measuring tool. Make sure you're set to meters. Make sure Sandbox is set to meters. You're going to pick a horizontal, which is typically the widest point of the racetrack. Say there to there. Then you're going to go in Sandbox and apply that image that you've made as the background image, and you're going to lay out your linear guide in Sandbox to the exact same measurement that you have here in Google Earth, and you're going to line that image up to where it lines up with the racetrack if it's already existing, or measure the racetrack in the image on the background image using the linear guide and make sure you have the exact same measurements there, and then do the same thing in the other direction at the widest point. Do it that way, and then once you take those measurements, the horizontal and the vertical, basically, pick some random points that match up, and just measure things. From the start finish line, measure start finish line to here, start finish line to the end of pit road wall or the end of the grass, or whatever you need to do, and just make sure those measurements match up exactly the same. You should be within, I'd say, point less than half of a tenth or something, because the width of a pixel is going to make considerable difference on a decimal point. So I mean, we're talking about pixels here. You can't get any more precise than that. So with the imagery available, I mean, this is what we're limited to for free. So other than that, I'll probably make a part 2 if you guys want, going over that process of measuring the image and things like that. So I hope that helps you get the images stitched together, get a high resolution satellite image on a low resolution desktop. I know there's programs available that will let you do that for a fee, but this is a free way to do it. So other than that, I hope you have a good day, and thanks for watching.